Have you ever won big and still don't want to go home? I mean, like, really win. The board is impressed. The numbers are clean. Your name leaves the room heavier than when you walked in. You should feel like the late Manute Bol of the former Washington Bullets, also known today as Washington Wizards. 7+, you know what I mean? Or 10 feet tall. But instead, you were sitting in the parking lot with your hands on the keys. You're looking at these keys as if they belong to somebody else. The house is fine. That is what makes it worse. Nothing is on fire. Nobody's chasing you. There's no emergency. There's no scandal. Just a silence you do not want to walk into. And now you are in that strange space that successful people do not talk about. Yes, you are excellent at work and homeless in your own life. Not broke, not lost on paper, but personally, relationally, emotionally. You feel like a guest in every room that is not paying you. That is what this episode is going to be about today. What's good with you? How you feeling today? I want to welcome you back to another show of the I Don't Subscribe with yours truly, Ibrahim Dafe. Man, Ibrahim Dafe sounds hot. I want to just salute my parents real quick because anytime I say my name, it's like, it makes me feel good about myself. Like, that is a dope name. You heard? But let's just move on. I know sometimes I kind of drift off a little bit, but that's just who I am. But what I want to do today, I want to talk to the executive who can command the room at 2 p.m. and feel completely unclaimed by 9 p.m. Everybody knows what you do. Very few people know where you actually live inside yourself. But before we go too far, I want to take a moment again. I want to salute House of Lone Wolf for presenting this episode. After you finish watching this episode or listening to this episode, go to houseoflonewolf.com. You heard? That is houseoflonewolf.com. Now let's get into it. I want to say this as plain as I can possibly say it. A lot of executives do not have a work-life balance problems. What they have is a belonging problem. That is different. You see, a balance problem says, my calendar is too full. A belonging problem says, when the calendar clears, I do not know where to put myself. That is a whole different kind of pain. Because the issue is not time management now. The issue is shelter. And no, I am not talking about physical shelter. I am talking about inner shelter. Some of you have built a career so strong because work became the only place where the rules made sense. At work, you know the target is clear. At work, the score is visible. At work, the praise is measurable. At work, the consequence has a shape. At work, you know who you are. Then you leave, and now you are walking into a house, perhaps a relationship, a friend group, a version of family, maybe even a city. where your title means nothing and your performance cannot save you. And that is when the emptiness starts talking. Because some people do not go home. I want you to hear me. Some people do not go home. They go back to a location. There's a difference, in my opinion. But see, this does not happen overnight. No. Nobody wakes up one morning and decides, you know what? I would love to be exceptional in public and emotionally displaced in private. No. You see, this gets built, and it's usually early. You learn how to read the room. You learn how to adapt fast. You learn how to stay useful. You learn how to stay sharp. And you learn how to keep moving. And somewhere in that process, movement starts feeling safer than rest. You see, in my life, home was never a simple word. So you have to understand that I am from the village, but I was never just the village. I am from 6465 Morris Avenue, but I was never just the block. I know the correctional system inside out, but I was never meant to be reduced to a number. I stood tall in ministry, but I was never built to hide inside a title. I moved through a marriage strain. I moved through multiple cities. In fact, I would like to think I was like Method Man before Method Man even made that statement in the movie Belly when he said, I rolled dolo from state to state. Aha. Because you see, I was moving through multiple cities, multiple states, multiple versions of myself before that movie even came out. You heard? I was moving through whole seasons where survival was louder than peace. So you see, I know exactly how a person becomes highly functional and internally unsettled. You get good at arriving, but you do not always get good at staying. You learn how to make something happen in every environment, but you do not always learn how to let an environment hold you. That is why some of the most competent people you will never meet cannot relax in their own living room. That is why some of the most respected people you know feel more natural in a crisis than in peace. That is why some people keep moving from cities to city, roles to roles, friend groups, identities, because motion feels like life and stillness feels like exposure. So they keep winning and they keep floating. And as I am talking about this right now, a song just comes to mind. Salute to Tamia. There's a stranger in my house. Now, she was singing about a relationship. I know. But then she hit that one line that stopped me cold the first time I really heard it. When she said, could it be that the stranger is me? Have I changed so drastically? Is it I want more of me and you remain the same? Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. It took a while to figure out. Let me stop. This is not karaoke right now. But LL said it best, I guess. I am a maniac for music. But let's just come back because I am being serious right now. See, Tamia, in my opinion, was not just writing about a man. Tamia was writing about every high performer who built an entire life around one identity. And one day looked up and did not recognize the person living inside of it. That is the stranger, not the house, not the role, not the relationship. You are the stranger. And this is where I part ways with a lot of leadership talk because the industry loves soft language. You know, they like to use the word work life balance, boundaries, wellness. You know, sometimes you got to disconnect to reconnect, all of that. It sounds cool. I dig it. But that language is too light for what some of you are carrying, an invisible backpack full of traumatic experiences. You do not need a cleaner morning routine. You need somewhere inside yourself that feels like home when the room gets quiet. That is not the same assignment. And if nobody names it right, you will keep solving the wrong problem. You will buy another planner for an ache that was never about planning. You will take another vacation for a wound that knows how to travel. You will go out to eat. You will book the flight. You will upgrade the furniture. You will switch the city. You will change your watch. You will change your circle and still feel like a well-dressed visitor in your own life. Now, here's the line I want you to consider after this episode. Because you have built a world where the only place you know exactly who you are is at work. And the cost of that is a life where you are a guest in every room that is not paying you. That is not a burnout. That is dislocation. And dislocation does not respond to productivity tips. You heard? So, what do you do with that? You have to start being honest. When I was going through my therapy session back in the around 2016, 2017, 2018, because I went a 2-year stretch of weekly therapy session. I did what everybody does best. The first 8 months, I was just dumping everything. But every time I leave, I will feel heavy. But yet I look forward to the warm embrace of that Chase Lounge. But there came a time when I said to my therapist, Doc, we can't do this no more. I need to turn the spotlight on me. I'm tired of talking about everybody. I need to just focus on me. So you see, when you start being honest, it's not about being dramatic. It's not about being self-pity. It's about being honest. It's about asking yourself, where in my life do I only know how to perform but not belong? Where do I feel most like myself? And why is the answer almost always tied to usefulness? That question alone will open more than most people are ready for. And then you will stop confusing motion with meaning. Because just because you are moving does not mean you are arriving. Just because people need you does not mean you are known. Look at what peace does to you, not what crisis does. Crisis is easy for some of you because you know exactly who to become there. Peace is where the real diagnosis lives. What happens when nothing is urgent? Can you sit by yourself without needing the noise? Can you sit by yourself without needing work? Can you sit by yourself without the need to smash, without the need to scroll, without the need to travel, without the need to achieve, without the need to actually deal with someone else's problem just so you can organize your own identity? That is not a small question. That question will tell you whether you have built a life or you have built just a role. So you got to understand this. You cannot decorate your way out of internal homelessness. You cannot title your way into belonging. You cannot outperform a life that does not fit you. At some point, the armor that made you effective starts making you unreachable. And once you see that the assignment is changing, well, now it's not about how do I keep winning. Now it is not about who is this person all this winning has been protecting. That is truly the deeper work. You heard? So if you are realizing that your issue is not time, your issue is not hustle, your issue is not poor boundaries, but the fact that you built a fortress around a person you never really got the chance to build, then there's only one place from House of Lone Wolf that makes sense for you. And that place is the shadow path. That place is not around the role. It's not around the title. It's not around the version of you the world knows how to reward. That place is around the person under all that performance. You get to have a 12 weeks founder-led one-on-one session with me. This is not a cohort. This is not a library of videos to watch. This is not a cute reset. This is a real rebuild. It is for the executive who is tired of being everybody's anchor and quietly realizing success built the armor, but never built the home. Go to houseoflonewolf.com, fill out an application, and see if we are best to work together. For an investment of $15,000, we can transform who you are. Because you must consider this. When your MBA framework fails you, survival intelligence will always win. You heard? So let me just leave you with this. Because there are people living in beautiful homes, doing emotional work. Everything looks right and nothing feels settled. That is a quiet sentence a lot of successful people never let themselves say out loud. So I'm going to just say it for you. And maybe that is where your next life will start. It's not with another win. It's not with another promotion. It's not with another move. But with the decision to build a life that can actually hold you when the applause is gone. Work may be where you perform best. That does not mean that it ends up being the only place you exist. You do not need a prettier cage. You need a real home. You heard? So until next time, I am Ibrahim Dafe. And I don't subscribe because success, in my opinion, is not shelter.